Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Elevated Podcast. I'm so excited to be here with you guys yet another week. Here joining me this week is my friend Abby.
Hello.
She's here because I invited her to talk about our physical health. Now, I know a lot of viewers think that health is just, it could either be mental health, physical health, spiritual health, emotional health. But I really wanted to talk about what's on the outside. And although appearance isn't everything, I do believe that a lot of what we have inside tends to come out. And so I really just wanted to sit down and talk with Abby. Abby, actually, I always see her like every single day. She grinding in the gym, you know what I'm saying? And it just motivates me, you know, especially me doing this 28-day challenge. I'm like, man, I need to get my body back in shape. But yeah, Abby, go ahead and introduce yourself to the Elevated community.
Hey, hello everyone. My name is Abby. I study at UNLV. I'm pre-med and I'm working on my certification. However, I do have 4 clients in training right now, so if anyone's looking for personal training, you know where to find me.
So holla at her. Don't worry. I'm gonna hit you with the ad so y'all could, or I don't know if they want to get at you, but I mean, you know what I'm saying. But yeah. Is that all about yourself?
That's it for right now.
What's your favorite color, Abby?
My favorite color is turquoise.
Turquoise, white turquoise.
I think the clarity and like the lightness of the color is so pure, but it's so blue, and I just love blue. Blue is surrounding us in nature, so it's very pretty.
That's an interesting description of why color. I love it. So guys, without further ado, let's get this episode started. I'm so excited to talk about physical health. So I wanted to start off by defining physical health. While physical health consists of many components, here's a list which I found, which are brief keys that should be addressed, such as our physical activity, which includes strength, flexibility, and endurance, our nutrition and diet, which includes nutrition intake, fluid intake, and healthy digestion, alcohol and drugs, medical self-care, and rest and sleep, which include periodic rest, which I know Abby is a big napper. No, I'm just kidding. She's not. I don't want to make her sound lazy. Relaxation or high quality sleep. What do you think of these this definition of physical health, Abby?
I think it's all pretty much on spot, but I think the component that you really miss is like mental health. And I know a lot of people don't connect mental health to like physical health, but I feel like what you intake just visually has a lot to do with what manifests into reality. So
I love that. Oh, that's good right there. That's good. I love the intake of what you see. And a lot of people don't really have this awareness of, I mean, and it's not only seeing, it's also about hearing.
Auditory, yep.
And okay, go ahead. Go ahead. That's good, girl.
So
continue.
I'm also studying like neuroscience as a minor, so we learn every day about like what we listen to. So like as kids, we grow up hearing our parents fighting, or our parents doing this, or our family in general. And usually those kids grow up to become the habits that their parents have established. Now, parents don't like to take it like, I guess, responsibility of that because they don't want to think of them being as the
bad parents,
absolutely. Of course. But they don't do it with intention. Like nobody really thinks about, oh, well, I'm saying this and that's making my kid think this or me doing that. But it's true. Like that's why I'm a big believer on audiobooks and like those motivational quotes by Will Smith, Gary Vee, Anthony Robbins, anyone, you name it.
Shout out to Gary Vee.
Exactly. But and especially like those YouTube videos, because I just feel like if you constantly have that mindset and you're constantly hearing it, you're gonna just grind like that every day. Will Smith actually talks about failure and how people are so scared of it, and it's like I don't think we should be scared of failure. We should actually embrace it, because it's not only just finding out what doesn't work, but it's also what you have to work on yourself and then progress further into your goals and whatnot.
Absolutely. I love it's not that I love failure, but I think that once we fail at something, that nervousness or being scared or being afraid goes away.
Exactly.
And that's why I love being in a state of I might fail at this.
Yeah.
Because it's a risk that you're taking on yourself, whether it be taking a risk financially, I don't know. Sometimes as guys, you're like, man, I really want to talk to that girl, but like you're just like, I don't know.
Not even just guys, girls too.
I mean, let's talk about that real quick.
Okay.
Do you think girls should make the first move sometimes?
I have before.
And how was that experience for you?
I mean, I feel like the beautiful part of life is uncertainty, and a lot of people hate uncertainty. They like to be sure, like, is this gonna happen?
They love security.
Yes, and I feel like I mean, if we had security and everything in life, life would be pointless in a sense, because if we knew we were gonna get the girl, if we knew we were gonna get the job, like I'm shooting for med school, and if I knew I was going to med school, I'd be like, okay, well, I'm not gonna try as hard. Versus right now, I'm grinding every day, studying, going to the gym, doing my thing, without even knowing in the end, am I really gonna accomplish this?
And I think that concept has a lot to do with, like, as a Christian, as a believer in God, it's like, God, I want $1 million. I pray to God, like, I want $1 million, God. But God is not going to give me, like, he's not going to drop a bag in front of me with $1 million. He's going to give me ideas. He's going to give me concepts. He's going to give me a way to get
exactly
to those $1 million. You feel me?
Of course.
And I love that concept. So let's talk about your journey into physical health. I know right now, as you said, you're training certain people.
Mm-hmm.
And how did that get started, first of all? And how was your journey into your life, like a routine of, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to start eating healthy, whatever the case may be.
So I want to say started back in like 2016 is when it really started. I was going to UNR actually, and I was working out, but I was working out with a lot of guys.
Okay.
And obviously the way guys work out versus the way girls work out is completely different based on body composition and whatnot. Right. But I started to bulk up in a way that I did was just too much for my body.
So you started sounding like this, guys.
No, I was not. But I was getting, because I'm also really small, like in height. I'm 5'2", but like I was just getting too bulky for my structure, my height, and the goals that I wanted to get. So when I came back, I transferred back to UNLV, and I just realized that I wasn't happy with myself, and that's when I like took a look in the mirror and I was like, what am I going to change about this? And I think
before you get any further,
yes,
you said you looked into the mirror and said you wanted to change.
Yes.
But not only physically, would
mentally.
you say?
No, it was definitely mentally.
Perfect. Well, talk a little bit about that.
Okay, so when I was at UNR, back again, I would study 9 hours a day for all of my classes. I was taking neuroscience, I was taking like community health, a bunch of science classes and like a math class, of course, whatever. And I just felt like I wasn't balancing my mental and my physical health enough, actually at all, because I was going to a party school, but I didn't want to go party. So instead of partying, I would study. But then when it came down to it, I would come home and I was always sad because like I just didn't know what else fulfilled me besides studying. So I started going because I had to quit playing soccer because of my knee injury, unfortunately. So when I started working in the gym, I just remember that euphoric feeling I would feel going to the gym and how great I felt, like
getting
running.
that pumping.
Yes, basically.
Yeah.
And when I started to see little changes, little results, I realized that the gym was what changed my mental state. And honestly, like just eating crappy at UNR was just the big game changer, I guess, because that's when I really realized, okay, well, I'm doing 2 hours at the gym. Why am I going to eat this donut? Or why am I going to eat this? So I feel like my mental state had to change a lot because of the way I studied and ate.
Yeah, absolutely. And the idea of what you fuel your body is the way it kind of reacts to.
It is.
You know? And do you know a little bit about that, or like what is your your idea?
So from my personal experience and like the knowledge that I have that I'm learning, like when you eat heavy foods, like let's say Chinese food, pizza, whatever, that food is so like calorie dense that you just feel really fatigued. Your blood sugar is really high, obviously, because of the fact that you eat so much crap. But also, like everything else is really low because your energy is low because you ate too much gluten or whatever the case may be. If you eat bread, and that just lowers your self-esteem because you like feel really bad about yourself, even though you feel.
So now you feel fat, in other words.
Basically. And you just don't feel like you feel guilty because you're like, well, I knew I shouldn't have ate that, but I still did. So then it starts going back to your brain and you start building up cortisol, which cortisol is a stress hormone in the brain. And you start working on that, then your body starts working up and building up the glycogen, which is the sugar in your body. And it's just all like dramatic effects in the wrong way versus if you fuel your body with the correct things. You feel energized, first of all. You feel lighter, but you feel full and a comfortable full. Like, I don't know if you've ever eaten to the point where it's just like, oh, I want to go sleep. Like, I can't stand that feeling. I avoid it at all times because obviously. But that's why you're supposed to fuel yourself in a way that, first of all, I don't know if you guys calculate macros or not, but it's difficult. Like, I'm still learning as I go. But it's really important just because you should only be fueling your body with the ways like that you want. So you're not saying, oh, don't eat that extra Oreo. Eat it if you'd like, but also know like your limits. And
absolutely. And it also has to do a lot with your body type or your body structure because not everyone's the same.
Nope.
Like your meal plan is not the same as mine.
Absolutely not.
You know? And
I mean, my twin and I, we have completely different eating habits.
And I think a lot of people get caught up in the diet, like in that diet, like, oh no, let's do this diet, the paleo diet or whatever diet may be, you know? And I think that's bad because you're going off a general sense of what helps someone else.
Exactly.
And not you.
And that's where people get confused, or I guess, what's the other word? Get confused and like deter away from like trying to make changes because they think, well, crap, my friend did the paleo diet and it worked so well for her, but it's not working for me. I'm like, yes, because you don't have her body type.
That's good.
And like my sister and I have the same genetics, but what's worked for her doesn't work for me, and we're twins.
Wild. That's crazy.
And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And once people understand the basis of your biology and your physiology, internally speaking, that's when everything else changes, and that's when I notice a change in my body as well.
Well, guys, I want to tell you this. If someone don't come cop Abby right now, oh God, yo, you guys really have to understand the value she's bringing to you guys. Like everything she just said, the last like 3-4 minutes, like that's some valuable like knowledge right there, honestly. But anyways, let's go back to, these are benefits what are some benefits that you can get from physical health? Not only exercising, dieting as well. You mentioned you really feel fatigued when you're eating, that pizza or, whatever it may be. What are some benefits that you've noticed that you've told people about and they told you, oh, wow, I'm feeling a little bit more energized today, or I'm feeling a little bit, I don't know, whatever it is, more positive. I don't know what it is,
Okay. Well, the first thing that I noticed right away is when I started to slim down, like I used to have really bad like chronic back pain, and I just thought, I was like, well, whatever, I'm always at a desk, or I was really sedentary. I used to have a really sedentary lifestyle when I was studying at UNR. But I noticed that my back pain went away when I started going to the gym and started like slimming down. So that was one thing for sure. Like when you carry more fat, I guess, on your upper torso, is when everything else outweighs it. But also my mood improved a lot. Like, not that I was ever moody, but just because hitting the books all the time, it takes a toll on your brain and your visual, obviously. But when I started hitting the gym more often, I was always like, guys, let's go do something. Like, I just wanted to do more and see more and get more things done versus, let's just stay home and watch
just
TV.
being complacent, I guess, in a sense, or comfortable.
Exactly. Like, you can even ask my sister, she's like, dude, how do you have so much energy? I'm like, I'm going to the gym, I don't know. It's like, I feel like, not that I'm like promoting pre-workouts or whatever, but if it helps you get going, then use that, but don't rely on it.
And I've heard, I don't know where I heard this, but it says the hardest part about going to the gym is not working out. No. It's actually getting to the gym.
Absolutely.
And so I just find that interesting, and it's like everything in life, it's hard to study. Well, no, it's not. It's hard getting to study. Or whatever the case may be. And so I just want to talk about our mind and our body. Perfect. How does one relate to another, would you say? Or are they both separate?
I would say that they're both separate, but they connect a lot. Like if you lack, I guess, control or will in one area, usually the other one suffers. So like, and it follows. It's like a domino effect. So like, for example, like getting up at the gym, I have class Tuesdays and Thursdays. So technically I could sleep in because I don't start work till 11 on Mondays and Wednesdays. However, I hold myself accountable because I have clients later on that day, and I usually get home around 5-6. I hold myself accountable to get up at 6:30 the days I don't have to, just to go to the gym. Otherwise, I know I won't work out. So that's like, me mentally telling myself, okay, Abby, if you don't get your butt up to the gym, you're not going to go and you're not going to hit your goals.
Setting certain goals, in a sense,
And like holding yourself accountable, because at the end of the day, is my mom really going to care if I go to the gym? No. She'd be like, oh, you missed the gym, cool.
Right.
Versus, you may think, oh, it's only one day, oh, it's only 2 days, it's only 1 week. That 1 week turns into a month. That month turns into a year. Versus, if you've been doing it, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm seeing my six-pack. Holy crap, my butt's getting bigger. Oh my gosh, I'm slimming down. And it's like, you didn't even realize it. And you have to find ways that make it better for you. Like for me, I used to hate cardio. I started doing Zumba. I started doing like HIIT workouts and things that just make it more enjoyable for me. And I think that's the thing where people get usually caught up with, is finding things that make it more enjoyable for them.
So, Abby, it has been a pleasure. It has been a privilege to sit down and interview you for physical health. Without a doubt, I'm leaving here more, how would you say, a little bit more pumped about going out and, everybody knows I'm doing a 28-day challenge, and it's been so hard, like some days I'm like, man, I really don't want to go. And like you said, like that 1 day turns to 2 days, and the 3 days turn into like a month. And I actually, like 2 years ago, I stopped working out And it was just because of that ripple effect.
Of
It was
course.
the ripple effect.
Yes.
I used to wake up like at 6 in the morning, hit it till like 8, 9, and then one day I was so tired, and I said, you know what? I'm just gonna stay in. And so that day turned into 2 days, and that 2 days turned into 3 days. And long story short, I canceled my gym membership, and I was like, you know what? And I was already getting the results I was aiming for, you know? Like, I was like, man, I'm getting defined, I'm getting, you know what I'm saying? But Abby, I wanted to finish with this. If like, this is the last thing that you ever said on the planet of Earth, like, this is your dying breath.
Okay.
What would you advocate, or what would you advise to someone that is struggling with physical health?
I think I would say, like, find your why. Find the reason why you're doing this.
Love that.
Usually people tend to work out like, oh, I want to get, like, slim. Okay, that's not your why. I want to get slim is your physical state, your goal. Why is it? And a lot of people are like, oh, I just want to look good. That why is usually not strong enough. It's usually because, like, oh, well, I really just don't feel comfortable in my own skin. Okay, well, what are you going to do to change it? Oh, I want to feel great about myself. Okay, how are you going to do it? How are you going to get there? So if you find your why strong enough to hold you accountable, like me, waking up at 6:30 on the days I don't have to, that just, it's like, I think it's a really big game changer, just because once you find that reason, you wake up thinking, like, okay, this is what I need to do in order to get there, versus, oh, well, I want to look good, but I can look good tomorrow. The heck? I mean, you can't live life like that.
Hey, and and this concept I just spoke about in my earlier podcast, and is telling people, find your why in life. Find your why, because if you find your why, you're gonna wake up every morning and tell yourself, I need to go grind out.
Yes.
I need to go put in the work. I need to go and do this. I need to go do that. Whether it may be your child, whether it be making your mom, dad proud, making,
Career.
yourself, making a career for yourself, saying, oh no, but I need to get this certain amount of money, or whatever it may be,
I think that with that alone, sorry, just to clarify,
Go ahead.
Making somebody proud is not enough, because usually that's where ego comes into play, and I can go on about the ego and whatnot. But usually when I find that I do something to make my mom proud or my dad proud, it's usually my ego trying to prove something, like, okay, Abby,
I can do it.
Yes, I can do it, but
Yeah.
that's not ever big enough. And, like, let's say you do achieve it, that's not gonna fulfill you enough. Like, I think as humans, we strive too much with our ego versus with the reasons we actually want to do things. So, I mean, your why needs to be like, well, you know what, if I don't do this, somebody else will. Or, like, one of my whys I can tell you is, like, I need to cure, like, Alzheimer's. I want to be a neurosurgeon in the future. So if I don't do this, somebody else will, and I can help. Like, I just love helping people, and to be able to open somebody up and be able to do so, like, I think that's just life changing. And it's not for, because I want to make my mom proud, my dad proud. So obviously that comes all along with
Absolutely.
it. But with the real why, like, if I don't do it, somebody else will. Or if I don't do it, like, I'm going to die. Or something really dramatic, I guess.
And I think that has a lot to do with, a lot of people are living their lives comparing themselves to others.
Yes.
They're literally running their race, but while they're running the race, they're looking at the other lane.
Yep.
And so I think that once we really look at ourselves and say, hey, he might be ahead of me, but that shouldn't matter to me.
Yeah.
Or she might be behind me, but that shouldn't matter to
Exactly.
you. You should stay in your own lane and, like,
Tunnel vision.
literally
Yeah.
tunnel vision. And so kind of like, I don't know why I'm going to talk about racing stripes, but kind of like racing stripes, the track horses, they can't see their peripherals because their aim is to be targeted to the front, and that's where their focus is. And that's how we should be living our lives, ahead of ourselves, because our neighbor, our family member, they're not our competition.
Yeah.
Your enemy is not your competition. You are your own worst enemy, and I truly believe that.
I agree 1,000%.
But Abby, thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you for
I
having me.
appreciate these. Man, like, for real, you guys need to understand how valuable the information that she just gave to you guys is. Anything else you want to say? I don't know. Give them the number. Any guys I want to talk to you? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, if you guys ever need somebody to talk to, I guess I'm here, like.
Then slide in the DM then.
Okay, you know what I mean.
Absolutely. Any last words?
I just hope everyone finds their why and their reason to strive for their goals. Stay positive, stay uplifting,
And stay healthy.
stay healthy.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys I hope that I bring you guys up next week's episode. It's gonna be really good. I have someone lined up, so please stay tuned in. And Elevated Community, shout out to you guys. Goodbye. I love you guys. You guys are the best.
See you guys later.